You are doing everything right. You're following all the content suggestions, you're posting every day, you're using the viral hooks, you're doing the reels, the carousels, all the things that everyone is suggesting, but it's still quiet. Why? Why? It's not your offer. It's not your price because they're not even getting there. It's not your frequency because you're showing up, but your audience is refusing to buy for one reason. And it's not because you're doing all the things. It's because they don't want performance. And I want you guys to listen to this episode because this is going to change how you show up online. Hello and happy Friday. I'm Trish. I am a labor and delivery nurse, a mom to 7, and I have 2 7-figure brands, one in the mom space and one in the business space. This is Sold Out Sales School, and what makes me so different is that I am still building a B2C business. I have not retired into coaching. So I'm going to talk about some things that nobody else wants to say out loud and why your sales are slow. So I want to start out talking about a story, and I think this is a really good example of why messy, imperfect, non-performative content and what I call experiences is what's going to actually sell out your offer. So here I am back with IGTV. So some of you guys don't even know what I'm talking about. That means you're young. If you're my age, you know what an IGTV is. So I sit down, I film the most rockin' perfect IGTV, just like I always did, right? I had it scripted. I had it ready. I would sit in the corner of my bedroom/office because I had no other space. I had threatened my children not to come in the door. So I had a 4-year-old at the time. Maybe he was 3. I don't know, 3 or 4. And I told him, I said, Grayson, do not come into mommy's office. I'm going to be in there for 15 minutes. I think I even set a timer on the stove and I was like, do not come to the door unless there's blood. Okay. And I was all doing well. You know, I'm sitting in the corner. I'm looking great, doing great. And Grayson comes in through the office door. And right in the middle of my IGTV, I'm like, Grayson, Micaiah, do not come in here. Mommy told you I was working. And I have this mean mug scowl. And, you know, he's like in the background, okay, mommy, I miss you. Like something sweet, right? And he leaves. I accidentally post that stinking video without editing out this meanness, mean momness. And that thing went nuts because here's the deal. Other moms related. It was real. It wasn't performative. It was real. I got more comments. That was my first thing, my piece of content that got so many comments. But here's the funniest thing about it. I was still feeling very performative and I was embarrassed, mortified actually. And the way that I found out was someone and I say this in quotes, in my real life, sends me a text and she's like, that is hysterical. So Jasmine, if you're listening, this was you. She's like, that was hysterical. And I was like, what is hysterical? And she was like, you yelling at Grayson in the middle of your IGTV. And I was like, jaw drops to the floor. I'm mortified. And of course I go to this post and it's got so many comments and real connection, but I was such a newbie and I didn't understand the value of the real connection and I deleted the darn thing. So here's the thing, right? And this is what all of us have been taught. We have been taught to perform. I am a good girl person here, a good girl culture. I came from growing up, I went to a fundamentalist Christian school. I went to church my whole life. I was taught to be good girl, right? And I feel like in that culture, we're taught to perform. Like we put on our best, put your best foot forward. And a lot of us have brought that into our businesses without even realizing it. And personal branding became a curated performance. And I want to say that again. Personal branding became a curated performance. And even when some people are sharing vulnerability, it's performative. And if you've been with me long enough, you know I'm like the whole crying on camera, it just gets me. Who in the middle of a breakdown thinks to bring out their phone and film it? Now, if you're on a live or you're doing something where you get vulnerable and you start crying, that is one thing, but I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. And someone I heard, I believe it was Jen Gottlieb, shared, you don't share a wound until it's healed. If you still have a Band-Aid on it, You should not be sharing it. It's not ready. And I feel like it's very performative if you're sharing wounds that are not healed. And that might look like, setting up your camera and crying in your car. That's very performative, in my opinion. Now, you may have another feeling about it, but there's a stat that 60% of consumers, and if you're here, you're probably marketing to consumers, but 60% of consumers now question the authenticity of all content. We're performing in an AI generated world, which is what? Perfect. Even imperfect content. I mean, my husband doesn't look at any content and think that's AI. How do they figure out that it's not AI? That's by being you, messy, imperfect you, imperfect captions, imperfect hooks, imperfectly you. Your audience is also performing in her own life, and she wants to see authenticity. If she sees you performing, she doesn't feel seen and she feels more isolated. So the moment you stop, you're going to create trust. And trust is the only currency that is scaling in 2026. So I want you guys to make 3 shifts. Okay. I'm going to give you 3 shifts to make right now. So shift number 1 is going from polish to proximity. Proximity builds trust faster than perfection. So I want you to look at your last 9 posts, your grid, and is it bringing people into your world? Is it showing your authentic thoughts, how you feel about your content? And I'm not talking about oversharing. I'm talking about being authentically you. I tell my clients all the time, bring the weirdo that shows up at 11 p.m.'s late for me now, y'all. I'm in my 50s. So the weirdo you that comes out at 3 a.m. if you're working a night shift, right? Or 3 a.m. with your bestie, if you have a girls' weekend. I think about my clients when we do our in-person retreat, and we got to know each other in such a different way because we got wacky with each other. I want you to bring that person into your grid. How would you explain something? Not how ChatGPT or Claude would, but how would you? Even inside my mastermind, we've built out our Freya content and sales strategist, and she helps them with all the areas in which that I teach them. And I still want them to add them into it. Bring your wackadoodle self into your content. And I promise it will start growing with the right people, because you want to bring your own wackadoodle BFE into your business. You don't want to bring mine because mine may not relate to you. So this is why it's so important. The next thing I want you to do is go from performance to permission. When you show up real, you're also giving her permission to stop performing. So for those of you, maybe you're a parenting coach and you're showing up perfect and polished in your feed, but that's not really who you are. And she books a session with you and she gets on to Zoom with you and you're not that perfect, polished person. She's going to feel tricked, right? This is why I want you to own who you are. I want you to be you. You are your IP. So another woman who feels permission around you is the woman who's going to trust you enough to buy from you. And I want you, when you're posting, to go from what do I want them to think when they read my post? I want you to ask yourself, what do I want them to feel? Go from thinking to feeling. That's where you're really going to get into the heart, especially of a mama. Okay, so from now on, instead of looking at content, I want you to start thinking in terms of connection. How many times do I want to connect this week? Not how many times do I want to post. So not what should I post, but what experience am I creating for her this week? And that her depends on who you're talking to, right? Content gets consumed. Experiences get remembered. Buyers don't remember your post. They remember how you made them feel. That's why memes get shared, because they create this feeling inside of us, whether it's laughter or sadness or relatability, whatever it is. But how can you start creating feelings instead of pieces of content? And that really is a question that's going to separate the sold out from the silent. When I look back at my journey as labor nurse mama, and I got burnt out the last year having 2 businesses. So I'm going to be really, really real with you guys right now and authentic. I really kind of shot myself in the foot in some ways, but also for my own mental health, I had to stop doing the 5 days to a fearless birth experience every 8 weeks because I'm building 2 businesses and I just couldn't hold it anymore. It was too much. And we had 2 to 3,000 women come and a lot of emotion and a lot of feelings. And I loved it when I was doing it, but it was really killing my nervous system. And so I stopped doing that live experience. And that really changed a lot of my social media because they're not experiencing me the way they did. So you have to make a decision too. There's a decision there to be made as well. But I want you to know that, like, I get it. It's hard. And the perfectionist voice doesn't go away. And some mornings you still want to keep refilming it, keep editing it until it's right. But I'm going to challenge you to start posting the messy, real version of you, because every time that you show up real, your business will grow just like mine has. Every time I've shown up authentically Trish, like messy, loud, muchness Trish, I've grown. And every time I start getting performative, I'm stagnant. So I'd rather be real and connected than perfect and alone, period. That's it. My businesses were built to impact other women. And when I forget that impact comes from being experienced and from them feeling something, it affects everything. So I just want to challenge you guys, give yourself permission, stop giving polished and give imperfect. And that is going to change everything for you. Okay, I hope that this episode really gave you permission, as well as you're going to give her permission to stop performing. I want to give you permission to stop performing. One of the things that I really love about building businesses with women is helping them find what lights them up and how they can just show up them. Because when you just show up you and you're not overly perfecting, it gets easier. So I want you to take one action this week. I want you to record one piece of content that scares you a little bit, like the thing you've been kind of scared to say. And I want you to post it and I want you to see what happens. Okay, as always, hit subscribe, leave a review. Girl, you've been listening to every episode and you haven't left a review. Do me a favor and leave a review. Send me a DM on Instagram at I am Trish Ware. And that is your cosmic slap on the booty. Let's start selling your offer, because when you sell it, it sells. I'll see you again next Friday. Bye for now.